Hello and welcome back. I am 13 and I apologize. This week is going to be light on content. So, I was going to stream this deck last night, but Twitch wasn't allowing new people to start streaming, and I actually have a fairly tight schedule trying to get Squirrel Dealer in on all this. It's the reason why that I don't actually get to test a lot of the decks that I want to run, like full-time job, just so much going on that it's hard to make the content work, and I apologize for that. But last night suffered because it wasn't in the right time window. And then Wednesday, I am actually going to be taking a day off for myself. Both Brad One and I play Pokemon Go as well as G-Burn if you watch any of the standard content. But Shiny Mewtwo Raid Night Wednesday, we're 100% doing that. So this is going to be the only video for the week. We will be launching our Commander deck text this weekend, hopefully. So I'll be able to show that. I know modern jank people probably don't care, but that's a Squirrel Dealer update. On to tonight. This started off as Bant Angel Tribal. And as I started putting more powerful cards in to try to make the archetype work, we slowly whittled down to Azorius, and then Illusionary Angels got cut, and now we're basically just at Angel Tribal that's essentially mono white, but we do get to take advantage of a couple of blue things. So, what is this deck trying to do? Well, the first card I bought that was not standard legal when I came back to this game was Sarah Avenger, because that is exactly the type of card that I want to be casting. Doesn't need to come out early. In fact, you want to interact early, and then it's just going to be a flying threat with vigilance. I didn't know about Aether Vial shenanigans. I didn't really care about Coco, but Sarah Avenger was an angel. It was powerful, and it just touched all the right buttons, and you can even tell it's M13. This just felt right for me. But we're going to be doing Angel Tribal tonight. So Sarah Avenger, first up, is going to be our equipment bearer. We are a Stoneblade deck. Following that up, we are an Angel Tribal deck, so we had to have a Sarah. She just had to be in there. Gets to make an Angel, 4 mana. She's a good threat. She can buff our team because we're Tribal. And yeah, I mean, that's about as far as we're going to go with that. And then the other Angel we have 4 copies of is Resplendent Angel. This card is... Sleeper's not the right word, but it's a vanilla-ish threat with flying. As long as it has the keyword flying, it kind of passes a vanilla test, but it has the ability to grow, and it also has the ability to explode. And that's basically all I look for in a magic card. So Resplendent Angel makes the cut. Also really good with a couple of the swords, but we're going to follow that up with a couple of valuable angels here. We're running 2 copies of Archangel of Tithes. This will be helpful versus a lot of the go wide decks. It should be really good versus Urza Sword and anything that goes wide. Then Baneslayer Lyra at the top end, like our Angel Lord, obviously. Baneslayer is just staple. I've heard a couple of pro players say that Standard is good when Baneslayer is good. Just a mid-rangey threat with a lot of keywords is good, then Standard's good because combo's not overrun. You're not concerned about dying to aggro before then. I feel like that's pretty relevant, and it almost feels like Modern might be in the right place for that. But then we are going to back this up with a couple of valuable cards. We have our Cheater Angel, the Unsettled Mariner. It is an angel for 2 mana, as well as makes it harder for our opponents to interact with us. Giver of Runes is a must-answer threat. Stoneforge Mystic is just a powerful card. And that is our deck. I do want to note that our equipments here are Batterskull, Sword of Light and Shadow, and Sword of Fire and Ice. Light and Shadow rebuying our valuable creatures is going to be fantastic, and Fire and Ice drawing us out of top decks is probably how we're going to win this. This hand is freaking atrocious. I can't keep this. We could keep on the strength of Aether Vial, but being on the play in London Mulligans, technically, yes, this could be turn 1 Aether Vial, turn 2 Giver of Runes. If we top deck anything, the Unsettled Mariner kind of works, but we can do better than that. And this is a pretty prime example of that. So we'll keep this guy and tuck the Light and Shadow, probably. We gain a little bit of life. We do have the Resplendent Angel. We can rebuy if something dies, but we want to be able to tutor stuff with Stoneforge Mystic. Alright, and we get to look like taxes, probably? I don't know. This feels like a moderately common start to Modern these days. I have no idea why I have an upkeep stop. Oh boy. No in combat, don't really care about damage. Okay, this is a race we're going to lose. I don't think we're going to beat Valakut. We do have some of our faster cards for it, but we're likely just not going to beat Valakut. So Sarah Avenger can't be cast on the second or third turn of the game, which means we get to flash it in off of Aether Vial next turn. Topping a land there was probably one of the worst things we could have done. Valakut is just very deterministic, and we don't have an amazingly fast clock. Resplendent Angel costs 6 to activate. I mean, we're getting kind of close to being able to do that. Alright, so snow-covered forest there. That's interesting. I feel like this should be a tell for me. I don't know what it's telling me, though. Alright, well, opponent, jig's up. We are angels, and mid-range dies to Valakut. So, best of luck to you. Can you deal with our 6 damage on turn 3? 6 damage on the table turn 3, not attacking turn 3. Pretty noticeable difference there. Oh, also, side note, when I was trying to troubleshoot why I couldn't connect to Twitch on Sunday, I had to re-import my settings and reinstall Streamlabs, so it's quite possible that this isn't in the right format for YouTube. YouTube usually is pretty good about telling me when I'm not doing things correctly, but if you're experiencing problems with the video resolution, please let me know so I can get that corrected for future streams. Field of the Dead. Okay, so this looks like the new primetime variant. And that's why they're running snow-covered forest and regular forest. We might be able to beat Field of the Dead here. 100% taking Vial up. We can now cast Sarah Avengers. Flagstones is okay. Be nice if we could activate this Resplendent Angel. So 6 landscape shift is going to do 5 times 3. I know there's scape shift math somewhere. I've never really sat down to try to figure it out. 7 land will end up doing 18, I believe, which means 8 land will kill me. Stoneforge Mystic next turn. Won't work. Yep, there's a prime time. So I'm going to let Primetime do his thing. I think that means that they're going to be able to shock one of my creatures. But I'll path at the beginning of their next upkeep. Oh yeah, Field of the Dead means that they don't actually have enough mountains yet. One quick second, let's take a look at the curve of the deck. So Archangel of Tithes is what I'm going for here. Yeah, whatever. Attack with both. I'm not going to be able to grow Resplendent Angel in response to the trigger, so let's just run out our other Sarah Avenger and make it so that Primetime can't attack and hope opponent doesn't have Scape Shift or Nether Primetime. Going after the Sarah Avenger. Interesting. The Resplendent Angel next turn's better. Like, I actually kill them with the Resplendent Angel next turn. But Primetime can't attack, which means opponent's going to get one more shock. They get to send it to Resplendent Angel to correct their mistake this time around. Although technically they could go after my blocker if they think that that's a valuable line. Yeah, they went after my blocker. All right. Grow Resplendent Angel, get a 4/4 next turn. Seems pretty viable. We do... Yeah, we're already in the danger zone. Opponent has more than enough lands. Primal Command. They're going to gain 7 life and go Tutor of Prime Time. Okay, that might be Danger Zone. Gonna tick Aether Vial up to 5. That likely doesn't matter. I'm either drawing a land and growing the Resplendent Angel. They're just gonna kill the Angel. Yep. Makes sense. Unsettled Mariner would have been fantastic here. I guess we'll look at our top deck. But that's pretty much lost. So thin the deck a bit. Ticking up here is a tell, but it doesn't matter. We're dead. Oh man, I almost ran elementals tonight, and we actually would have had the elemental that countered prime time. That would have been fantastic. All right. Well, Dovin's veto is a consideration for escape shift. I already just slotted it in here because it'll give us hexproof, so they're going to have to get 2 landfall triggers to kill Shalai and then go for the kill. Pithy Needle on Steve is a small consideration, but that's not really how you win these games. I think we're just going to try to get a little bit more efficient and just try to actually close out the game quickly. Archangel Avacyn actually never flips because it's a non-angel creature, and everything we have is an angel except for Giver of Runes, so can't really expect this to clear the zombies, but it's a thing. If we're bringing these guys in, Archangel of Tithes actually probably just comes out. It's the same converted mana cost, but this is supposed to tax your opponent's creatures from attacking or blocking, and opponent's not going to be doing that much. If they're attacking with Prime Time, they clearly have the 1 mana to pay for it, so I think we submit like this. That's slightly awkward. We will play first. Alright, we have a single land again. Not going to work. This could. So we have to tuck something here. This is going to be a turn 1 Vial, turn 2 Stoneforge Mystic, which means Giver of Runes. Giver of Runes can be an infinite blocker, but will die to lands. It's probably just the other Aether Vial. The curve of our deck makes Aether Vial super awkward, but yeah, it's a necessity to get out our Sarah Avenger. Like, we put up a mildly respectable clock. Opponent was just able to use their lands to shoot down all of our creatures quickly. We're going to always yield. We want to tick it up. Stoneforge Mystic. Going to 18 is a significant life total difference versus this deck, but I think we're just going to go for Fire and Ice. Batterskull's the fastest clock. Batterskull lets us actually kill them, so we'll run it like that. Plus, Batterskull will get us back above 20, which is relevant. Shocking in means a Steve or a Farseek, or I guess just Explore. Anyway, it's additional land drops. Alright, and opponent had the Bolt. Well, Giver of Runes comes in. Likely going to be pathing my own Giver here. We're going up to 2 in case we find a Sarah Avenger. We did not. So, get in with Giver of Runes. Giver 2 comes down. Then we path our own creature, which means land drop gets Batterskull into play. It means we can't infinitely protect our Givers, but big mana just eats mid-range, and we don't have a lot of the interactive pieces that Spirits or Jund has. Alright. Path you. We're just going to go get... We already have our blue source, so we can do that guy. We have passed turn 3, so we can go up to 3. And there's Resplendent Angel. Alright. That's the play. It's a sad play, but that's the play. This looks like a prime time. This also means their mountains allow us to allow them to start shocking our creatures, and we might just go to game 2. This does feel like a 1585 matchup. Like, typically it's not that bad, but they have to really stumble or punt in order to get anything to happen here. Sequencing here is kind of not required, but it is correct. We're going to go pro red. And yeah, we're going to go up. We have Shalais that are really good here. Path. Not what we were looking for. Pathing the prime time is basically going to shoot a lightning bolt at our face as well as kill our Resplendent. I don't know why I'm struggling to say that right now. Resplendent Angel. Alright, well, they were just going to kill it anyway, so it's not like that matters. We are going to be at 3 post-path. Which means we're going to need Batterskull and Baneslayer slash Lyra off the top. And that's the kill. No, they didn't want to resolve Scape Shift. That's not right. Opponent should have killed us there. Well, we're going to tick up in case we get a Lyra or a Baneslayer. Yeah, whatever. We're done. We're done. Clunky mid-range dice to Scape Shift and Tron. That's just how it works out. To be honest, this was Angel Tribal. I was expecting this to maybe go 1-4. There's a reason people don't play with these cards. But we do fun things here. We like to have fun magic. Okay, this is fine. So we're on the draw. We at least get a Stoneforge Mystic. We get a backup Stoneforge Mystic. And then, assuming that we get a Batterskull into play, the Angel can actually start making tokens. And I just died a little inside. That moment right there is exactly why I don't actually run my face cam. Because that is sadness incarnate right there. As a talking point tonight, I did actually want to mention how Stoneforge Mystic allows you to actually have a somewhat competitive build to a lot of these janky decks. But, wowza. Wowza, wowza, wowza. So, opponent might not have a payoff, and this can give protection from colorless, which means Wormcoil's not going to go the distance. So, we will put Angel on here and kind of just see what happens. Then I guess that means we have to get Batterskull so we can actually have a respectable clock. Giver of Runes technically is supposed to attack in this matchup, but given the pro colorless could actually save Stoneforge Mystic from an... Okay, that is exactly why we didn't give up yet. Land? Not a land. Alright, well, I get to put in Batterskull and make it pro colorless. That's what my cards do, opponent. What do your cards do? I'm expecting they didn't have a Karn, otherwise Karn likely would have come down and taken the Giver out. Yeah, they're fishing for a threat or for more mana to cast a Ugin. Walking Ballista for 3. Okay, so my sequencing here is forcing an opponent to cash out the Walking Ballista if they don't want to allow me to give my Batterskull protection this turn, which it looks like they don't care. Makes sense. I'm going to go pro colorless. Oh, that made the Batterskull token fall off. Okay, that was a heroic punt right there. That was an absolutely heroic punt. The E in protection stands for can't be equipped by. Land is about the... Yeah, we're done. Tron. So Pithing Needle can hit Expedition Map, Walking Ballista. Deputy of Detention can actually kill one of their resolved threats. Dovin's Veto lets us actually kill our opponent's threats on the stack, and Stony Silence is in here exactly for Tron and Hardened Scales Affinity. We will be trimming some of our... Actually, our bigger bombs are about the only thing that will keep us in this. Archangel of Tides is bad just because they have a ton of mana. We can probably trim our Unsettled Mariners because we're bringing in things that stop them from activating Walking Ballista, so nothing else is actually going to be targeted. Opponent should have a decent number of Wormcoil engines. They've moved a lot more pre-board in the current meta, but I don't like having too many. In Control, I usually keep 2 to 3, and I guess that just depends on... Sorry, words are hard. That just depends on how I'm going to board. The Giver of Runes is supposed to attack just because it is kind of a clock, and you kill Tron by not having a clock. You lose to Tron by not having a clock. Oh, my head is killing me. I apologize for that. Words are not coming out the way I intend them to come out. And that's probably fine. The Sword of Light and Shadow actually is probably a better trim than the other Giver of Runes. Yay, Angel Tribal, playing literally the 2 worst matchups we could have. I am a huge fan of a single of Gemstone Caverns and 2-color decks. It is showing slight awkwardness here, but this is a turn 1 Aether Vial, turn 3 Resplendent Angel, turn 4 take whatever they assemble with Tron. We might need to actually go for some sideboard hate. Yeah, whatever. We'll just go to game 3 faster. And so turn 2, this can enter tapped, which means I'm either calling Angels now or I just put in the colorless land. Colorless land it is. Gemstone Caverns helps us actually fairly cast things ahead of our opponent. And that's about the only way that we pull off some of that. Dovin's Veto. That would have been a reason to not put in Gemstone Caverns, but we don't have 2 colors anyway. Cyclochromatic Star, Sylvan Scrying for the last Tron piece. Or not. They just have Natty Tron, as Tron does. Honestly, I don't know how much that actually helped them. If they have natural Tron, then whatever, they win anyway, but... if opponent slams a card here, they are likely not going to hit my Angel. Actually, yeah, they will, because the Angel will be able to kill it. So I suppose we just pass. Dismember targeting Giver. Then Tron Karn. Oh, they wanted to do something. Not Tron. That's still a problem. Colored source? Not a colored source. Alright, well, if they slam Karn here, I deserve this, but it's my only play and I've got to put a clock up. If I draw a colored source, that means I get to Deputy the Oblivion Stone before they get to blow it. That's technically a colored source. So let's run this out on Wizard. It's a Wizard, right? Yep. We can Alpha at opponent for 6. Then this is going to be our white source, blue source, colorless. Yes, it worked. Now we have lethal if opponent can't pull something off this turn. Spatial Contortion, get back Oblivion Stone. Alright, well, they didn't have the natural Tron, but they were on a pretty nutter's hand. Now they get to pop the Expedition map, go get mine, they get to hold up the Oblivion Stone. Or they're just doing it now? Yeah, let me go to combat first. That's a Sarah. That I can't cast. Alright, well. Tron be doing Tron things. Yep. Then I guess we're on Sarah Avenger and your go opponent. Mana base showing to be slightly awkward. I love Gemstone Caverns, but with no filtering. It's showing a little pain here. 6 mana for a Worm Coil's fine. 10 mana for a... Okay, yeah, they just get to do their things. We can still technically top deck a... Not a Shalai. A Planesseer would actually be decent. Not an Aether Vial. Alright, well, we're not beating card. So, I am going to update our record to be 0-2 as a super sad panda because we played Valakut and Tron. Literally the 2 worst matchups we could have for a fair mid-range strategy. But whatever, sometimes you just have to cast Value Angels, and that's what we're doing tonight. So, Sarah Avenger has shown some awkwardness. Needing to wait even until turn 3 for a 2-mana 3/3 flyer just is not good enough. Honestly, I think Tombstalker would potentially just be a better threat at this point. I did really want to get some value out of Sarah Avenger with 4 protection colors main board to be able to have Flying Vigilance and just go to town, but not in those matchups. Not in old school Modern. Excuse me, I had to cough. All right, we have Path and Slow Roll creatures. I guess we're going to continue the Mulligan streak as well. 2 lands, honestly, is not a lot, and a turn 3 Resplendent Angel is not good enough. I need to find like an Aether Vial or Stoneforge Mystic. This is a little bit better. So, Tuck the Light and Shadow. We don't know if it's relevant in this matchup. I don't know if any of my creatures are actually going to the bin yet. Oh my gosh. Why, Magic Gods? Why? I just want to do fair white things. Okay, if they basic and don't Sylvan Scrying, we probably have a small shot here. I mean, they're digging, so they're technically just optimizing what they're doing. Worm Coil likely means that they're going to assemble Tron here. Nope. Basic. Alright. Hopes and Dreams. Technically around still. They might have been kicked in the nads, but they're still there. And we have a Path, which is technically a thing that we can use here. So, every opponent has been playing an unfair strategy and still killed our Stoneforge on 2. So, batter Skull and hope that this one actually happens. There's a Sylvan Scrying, so this Expedition map's not getting cracked yet. There's a Power Plant. We're looking at turn 4 Tron. Wow, and they're going to have Ubertron. Cavern of Souls. So I'm going to be pathing, assuming that they spend 2 mana. Oh, they won't actually be able to Worm Coil yet. Alright, well, we are gonna just jam a Batter Skull. Tron, 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 Tron. There's the tower. Here's 5 mana. Oblivion Stone, likely coming down. Nope, just a star. Okay, well, this opponent has not nearly been as soul-crushing Tron as the other one has. This looks like another Sylvan Scrying. Walking Ballista for 2. I think this means that opponent's going to try to block the Batterskull token and then shoot down Stoneforge Mystic. But seeing as how I have Baneslayer, I'm actually just going to path my Stoneforge here and force opponent to make their decision. Because I'd love to make a 5-drop. I know I technically should have kept this path to exile for the Wormcoil that I know is coming down, but honestly, I'm okay with Baneslayer and Resplendent Angel together. So this is if you gain 5 life. That's sad panda territory. Jeremy, go in. You doing it? Ah, you're doing it. Alright, well that reeks of an opponent with a lot of good cards in their hand, where they're willing to trade a Walking Ballista and 2 damage to Fog 4. Alright, well given what I've seen here, I think I'm just on Baneslayer, and then next turn I can lead on Resplendent Angel, Saracen. Actually, I can just attack first, because this is at end step. As long as I've gained the life, I'll still get the trigger here. I also would so not put it past opponent to just slam an Ulamog and take my Batterskull and Baneslayer. That's Frowntown. Alright, there's Sanctum, so they're going to go tutor Ulamog or Karn. Oh, nope, they just had the Karn. I would assume they take Baneslayer here and just cash out. Oh, they're going for big Emrakul? Okay. That wasn't the line I was expecting. Bye, Baneslayer. You tried. You put forth a moderate effort. Unsettled Mariner. That would have been nice last turn. Angel. Well, now I'm not going to gain 5 life. But I do get to kill Karn. So Unsettled Mariner would actually counter Emrakul's trigger. Magic Online, be nice and just do the math for me. So we have artifact, sorcery, sorcery, artifact, creature, land, planeswalker. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's going to cost 8. They currently have 8. So I think I actually have to Unsettled Mariner here. If they don't have a land, which seems very unlikely, but they have actually been tutoring every land, then that will counter Emrakul's trigger. Then they're going to eat a creature. And if they eat a creature, I'd prefer it's Serra Avenger. So if they take my next turn, they're not going to run out the Resplendent. They're going to send Serra Avenger or the Germ into Emrakul. Honestly, they should move the Batterskull over and then send it in, but Sylvan Scry, and so yeah, trying to set up for the Emrakul turn. Oh, no, they're just good. Yay! Tron magic is fun magic. Alright, so they're going to take my turn. They still have a worm coil in hand. I would assume you equip Batterskull to Sarah Avenger and just eat it. I'll gain 7 life, but there's not a lot coming back from that. Unsettled Mariner could be a little annoying for them. They just have so much mana, I imagine it doesn't matter. Worst matchups ever. Wow, just gonna eat the Mariner? Okay. You got it. So Deputy of Detention's probably my best draw now. Snow-covered plains. All right. Well, opponent doesn't know about that yet. This is all going to be fairly mana neutral, so let's just run out the Aether Vial and start getting a couple of counters on it. Then I think I'm just going to move Batterskull over. So run Batterskull into Emrakul. We'll gain 4 life. Kind of protect us against the Flying Trample a little bit. Then we'll have a 7/7. Opponent's going to have to stay on defense. Or alternatively, I just run out the Resplendent Angel and expect to bounce Batterskull. I don't think that really does anything productive. 8 mana to just get another Germ token when I'm looking at an Emrakul and a Worm Coil just doesn't do enough. So I think I need to force opponent to plan on staying on defense with their giant Mamacruel. So let's equip this over here. Then we have a 7/7 Flying Lifelink Vigilance. And I really don't have any reason to show the planes here except for top decking a... No, it doesn't matter. So we'll just pass like this. Wormcoil plus 4 randos in hand, though. Not a happy day for Sarah Avenger. Sarah Avenger hauling that massive Batterskull flying through the air has to look frightening, but then again, it's staring down this thing, so I guess that doesn't matter a whole lot. I would assume one of our better draws at this point is a Giver of Runes. We'll be able to cheese in to play it in step with the Aether Vial and then get in unblocked. Deputy of Detention would also be great. Expecting opponent to just have a O-Stone, though. It's a little weird they haven't cast one yet. They're almost halfway through their deck. I believe the math is somewhere in the ballpark of like 30% chance to have a 4 in your opening hand. I'd have to go look at Frank Karsten's article on that, but it's fairly likely. And if you double the size of your hand, it goes up significantly. There's our good buddy Wormcoil and Wormcoil 2.0. Well, we did keep the Emrakul back, which is hilarious in its own right. Alright, well, I can make a 4/4 Angel by swinging in, but I'm going to have to trade a 3/3 Vigilant Angel to make that happen. I could see a world where I block the Wormcoil with my 7/7 because then I can just make a Germ token. So yeah, I think I have to run this out. Oh boy. Look at them Tron things. You can see what the deck was supposed to do, though. Like, we're actually putting out a couple of decent threat flying evasive threats that our opponent is definitely struggling to deal with. I mean, they're churning through most of their deck. They tutored it up. They have a million mana. And our two angels are doing things. But this looks like a giant walking ballista. Yep, I'm past this. I am super past this. I like to make good content, and watching opponent just do Tron things is not good content. So there should be a drop option somewhere around here. League details. What happened? Current match is pending. Where'd you go? Return to game? Opponent, I want to drop. Just hit submit. Opponent. Okay, whatever. I guess this means that I can at least see what my opening hand is. So, Sholai came in for Valakut. That all looks fine. Archangel Tithes doesn't matter. We can trim Archangel Avacyn just because it doesn't matter. We'll submit with 62 cards while we trim one of each of these, I think was our plan last time. That need to come in for Light and Shadow and another Giver. Whatever. We'll just see if they're on Fast Tron. We're here. We have an Aether Vial, a Sarah Avenger, a Splendid Angel, Mana, Lyra. This is about as good as our deck can curve. So, Flagstone, since I'm likely not casting anything next turn, I can get a Hollowed Fountain. Then we'll actually have mana for Dovin's Veto this time and not be stuck on 2 Caverns and a Gemstone. Alright, opponent, show me what you got. Oh, nope, we actually get to do things. This one is actually going to get a sort of Fire and Ice. Just because Batterskull has not been working out very well, and I'd like to start drawing cards and shooting down walking ballistas, and this feels like the best way I can do that. These big things that go over my head make me do things that don't make sense. Also, the 4 versus 5 with the Angel, not a huge fan of that. That is one thing that's definitely showing some weight there. Alright, well, it's a good thing we didn't get Batterskull. Opponent's also not looking very hot on the Tron front, so... And we found another Stoneforge Mystic. Alright, well... This is the plan. The plan is end step Sarah Avenger, swing in for 5. I've had worse plans. I've definitely had worse plans. Opponent goes and finds a power plant, which means they don't have their tower yet, but that will get them a tower. So it'd be nice to find a Stony Silence off the top, but that would mean that I don't top deck a land to do sword. Oh, wrong thing. I'm not thinking very clearly. I was going to say I wouldn't have a land to actually equip the sword and the... I guess that actually wouldn't have mattered because I could draw into it. But whatever, let's do this. Hopes versus Tron were gone well before sideboarding. In fact, opening hand, you look at a Tron land and I just assume I'm not going to beat that at this point. Shoot you. We did find another land. We're going to keep the new one. We'll go get our Hollowed Fountain. It'll enter tapped regardless of if I pay life or not. And then this is technically turn 4. I think opponent with 8 mana next turn, the Unsettled Mariner actually has to come out. It vaguely protects me from Karn. Ugin Minus is still backbreaking, but then I'll just put in the the Resplendent Angel, and we might have a shot. Opponent currently has 3 in the yard, so Emrakul's going to cost 10. Targeting me is going to cost 1. Yep. I expect opponent to minus on the Sword of Fire and Ice here. Oh, going after the Unsettled... Nope, going after Stoneforge. That's an interesting decision. And I respect you for it. Well, I guess it was actually a good thing I misclicked on Stoneforge Mystic. 100% going to start working up towards this Lyra. Although casting Lyra is looking tempting. I'm going to send this 3 at Karn and 4 at opponent. And then I'm going to have 3 mana for the Saravenger or potentially whatever I top deck. Attack Karn, attack opponent. Just going to pause for 1 second. If I hit opponent to 4, does that actually mean anything? I don't believe so. And Karn is a problem, so... Shoot opponent, draw a card. Opponent Oblivion Stones, I'm sad. Opponent Ugins and -3s, I'm kind of sad. I can't put the Saravenger in for free. I'm going to hit opponent for lethal next turn, so I think I just keep my hand. Running out the Saravenger doesn't actually accomplish anything here. Ancient Stirrings means opponent doesn't actually have something. They're digging. Found a Walking Ballista. So they can make a Walking Ballista 3/3. I should have moved the Sword of Fire and Ice over. Technically, the mine is free, so they'll net 1 mana off of this if they don't have a land in hand. That will make a 3/3 Walking Ballista with 2 mana left over. But Unsettled Mariner means that they're not going to be able to shoot me, so I think we actually might be solid here. Forest is an odd selection. That makes me think that they have a Nature's Claim. Okay. That sequencing is a thing. I would assume that you just use the Forest and then go get 3 mana or go get a Sanctum so you can get a follow-up threat. But this Walking Ballista is not actually going to... So I grow this. I hit them for 5. I get an Angel token. I Lyra. I'll hit for 4. Okay, no. So I actually get a bust out Lyra. That won't actually make a difference. They'll still just fog that. Lyra coming in off of Aether Vial's fun. It's like really fun. So Saravenger, Flash and Lyra, Grow, Flash and Lyra. That'll leave opponent at 1. But I'll get another 4/4 Angel token. Versus... I don't think leaving opponent at 1 actually accomplishes anything, so let's just alpha. And then this leaves me only in trouble to an Ulamog. So if opponent's smart, they'll shoot now, but it looks like they didn't. So Lord him up! Oh, Lyra. Lyra, Lyra, Lyra. If opponent does have Ulamog and they shoot down 2 of my creatures, I'm in trouble. If they Ugin, I'll just Dovin's Veto. So I think this time I actually do want to Sarah Avenger. Just minor protection versus Ulamog. Although they won't be able to pay for it. Of note, Lyra did give this lifelink, which is why I'm getting my token. Yay! Yay, Pity Angel! We actually beat Tron. Alright, Deputy of Detention's actually going to come in. Let's fix that. Opponent actually did show us less worm coils. They're on the bigger version with Emrakul. I actually don't know what the correct call is here. So Path can't actually hit Emrakul, which is why I'm like juggling this back and forth a little bit. Elspeth can. Is that good enough? That actually might be good enough. You beat Tron early or you don't beat Tron. If I'm bringing in Elspeth, then things have hit the fan and we're gonna do very poorly. But you know what? This is where we're at. I almost put Field of Ruins and Surgical Extractions in this deck, but I'm like, we'll just move past Tron. Tron and Valakut, we're gonna lose those anyway, so we'll just take that as a measured loss and move past it. Okay, we have 5, 6, 12, 14, 18, 22 lands. We have had so many one-landers. This is fine. If I'm tucking something here, it's probably the Sarah Avenger. So, Unsettled Mariner protects versus Walking Ballista and turn 3 Karn. Sarah Avenger doesn't really do anything. Yep. Sarah Avenger it is. Opponent's on Tron on the play. I already tried to concede this, but we had to sit through sideboarding, so I figured I'd beat opponent with a sad mid-range deck. Opponent is mulled to 3. Okay. YouTube, listen to me here. Just because opponent mulled to 3, if we beat them, that doesn't mean it would have been bad concede. Because we are not very high in this matchup, and that's opponent's deck not working. That's not good Magic. It's not good content. Which is basically what Tron does, but odds are they're still going to beat us on 3 anyway. Maybe not with a Stony Silence. They also didn't lead on star or map, so... Okay, now Stony Silence will do some work. Oh, and they're just going for it. Sequencing from opponent has been shocking me tonight. It just doesn't seem right. Like, they should have... They clearly had one of these in their hand last turn. Yeah, I'm confused, but whatevs. They're on 2 lands. We're doing what we can. So this is turn 3. I think I'm on Stoneforge Mystic, although Unsettled Mariner and make a Sarah token is probably a better clock. So let's do this. We're going to go on Angel. We'll make her blue. Unsettled Mariner. Then if opponent does have Dismember, it's going to be a little bit more costly for them to do things. Alright, whatever. I mean, you do everything that you can. It actually might be correct right now to do Stoneforge Mystic and Sarah Avenger instead, but we're an Angel deck. We came here to cast Sarah. That's what we came here to do, so we're going to do it. There's our Angel. And now we have opponent on a 3-turn clock. That's only going to get better. Also, okay, they're just done. So we take Tron for the rematch. I did say it before. That's not good Magic. We didn't deserve that. We were able to take it in one of the post-boarded games, but then Tron did Tron things and mulliganed. But yeah, take whatever wins you can get. This hand looks mildly acceptable. I'm keeping this on the power of Path and Aether Vial. So we have a couple of lands. We have Aether Vial to cheese on mana, and we can interact with our opponent, which is all I can really hope for. Flagstones is going to be a weird tell. Island is going to make us look more like spirits. I think opponents should probably try to play off tempo for spirits, so I'm going to lead on the snow-covered island. Or, yeah, I guess it really doesn't matter. We don't have any 2-drops that would care about double white. Sarah Avenger can't be cast. Jund. Alright, well, they're going to take our only threat, and then we're going to have 2 terrible Path to Exiles in hand. But, I mean, who leads on Island holding a Resplendent Angel? Alright, well, opponent doesn't know about the plane, so we're going to make this line. If they're on turn 2, red and 6, we're basically just done. Okay, this looks more like the rock. And I have a couple of 3-drops I want to get to, so I'm going to Path proactively here. It is more correct to wait until there are upkeeps that they can't use the mana. And they are Jund. So they ran that out for mana fixing. But an Angel here can solve some things. Nope. Okay. Well, look at our Angel tribal deck with lands and paths. Be astounded with your discard. Okay, this 3 mana looks like a K command to me. Not being able to grow our Resplendent Angel is... Cavern's the most awkward card to actually cast things with. Another path. Alright, well, opponent, fear are 2 Path to Exiles in hand that you know of that you know about one of them. Expecting a Bloodbraid out of them at this point. I mean, the curve discard into Goyf and Decay command into, I imagine you have to have your 4-drop here. Alternatively, they could just slam a land and attack with a Raging Ravine. They do know we have a path, though, so they're probably going to go for the 2-for-1 if they've got it. Alright, well, looks like opponent stepped away. 4 cards in hand. They do not have double black for Liliana. My path on 2 would have actually set them up for a turn 2 Liliana. So I imagine that they're not on that Planeswalker. They had the opportunity to Wrenn and 6 with knowing we don't have much action in hand. They didn't actually cast it. They know about our Path to Exile. So I imagine any creature they cast is either going to be a 2-for-1 or disposable. Here's a Goyf. Another Goyf. Alright, well, not a Liliana. My 4-drops are Archangel of Tithes and Sarah. Okay, well, if I draw either of those, I do want this out of the way. So, you know, opponent, you do you. If they get a forest here, I'm expecting Scoos. If they get a swamp, then they're either expecting a Liliana or have multiple black cards in hand and they want a multi-spell. A little surprised they didn't take the shock here. They could potentially have a Fatal Push. If they had discard, they would have fired it off by now. Come on, opponent. You have at least a swamp in the deck. Alright, well, we can cast Baneslayer and Lyra now. There's a Bloodbraid. Alright, and they get our path. Ouch, the pain. Bloodbraid does things. There's no point in me floating mana here. We're just going to thin our deck. And that's a lot of lands. I don't know, maybe 22 is too high. For a little while, I had Gazella and Bruna in the deck, and I was going to do the meld shenanigans, but it just wasn't going to work. Baronmore means they are on Ren and 6. I'm also basically dead next turn. I can cast this. I'll be looking at taking 4 here. I'll show opponent more of our deck. It's not worth it. We're not coming back with a Sarah Avenger. Had that been Baneslayer or Lyra with first strike, we would have had a shot. Elspeth, 100% coming in. Most Jund players concede to Elspeth because they've played it and it's miserable. Shalai also likely coming in. I'm going to look at what I'm cutting, but Hexproof protects versus Liliana's Edicts as well as makes it hard for Lightning Bolt to be good removal. Rip, I'm not a fan of Rip for Goyf. It's just not worth it. Dovin's Veto is bad counter magic that sits in hand and gets killed by Liliana. I could potentially see this if we are only considering killing Liliana, but most Jund lists are running Ren and 6. Actually, on the play, this might be worth it. I'm going to say on the play for Ren and 6, this is worth it because we won't beat a Ren and 6. Actually, we're kind of fine versus Ren and 6. I don't know. Liliana's a bigger target. Shalai is going to be a higher priority. Light and Shadow technically protects versus Black. Fire and Ice protects versus Bolt, but that's not very relevant. The card draws what's good out of sort of Fire and Ice in this matchup. Archangel Avacyn, I love this card. She's not going to flip, but the Indestructible isn't irrelevant here. Linvala stops Scavenging Ooze, but that's about it. I assume Linvala is coming out for Shalai. Archangel of Tithes is actually really good when they're trying to be consistent on mana. When you're playing Jund, you typically try to play the most mana-efficient play every turn, and Archangel of Tithes will set you off of that tempo and cause you to fall behind. These die to Lightning Bolt, and I think that's a big enough consideration to trim. Deputy of Detention will get removed very quickly. Not a huge fan of bringing that in because you snag something for a turn and then it just comes back. It can reset Planeswalkers, but resetting Planeswalkers is awful. Then the last thing is, do I want Pithing Needles? Pithing Needles can name Ren and 6 or Liliana. I have a lot of very valuable threats, and not very many of them are 2-for-1s. So, do I want Pithing Needle over... Giver's going to be one of our better cards. Again, Mariner sets them off tempo. Let's actually try this. They are on K command, so Light and Shadow doesn't feel that good. Let's try that. All right, let's actually do something tempo-y. So, in this matchup, card quantity is better than quality. And unfortunately, what's going to happen here is I'm going to make my play, opponent's going to discard me, get rid of the Unsettled Mariner, and then I'm just behind. So I'm keeping this on the ability that we're hopefully going to Archangel the Tides on 4. And we have 7 cards. If we go much lower, Jund will take away all of our gas and just beat us down. Plus, like, we can get a Hollowed Fountain here. We'll have our colors. We can keep our life total high. These are all qualities I like in a good hand. Giver on 1 or Aether Vial would have been fantastic. That Aether Vial from opponent in game 1, destroying it and blowing it up at an upkeep was a unique line. We did technically show them blue, so I don't know if they were trying to protect themselves versus a Mausoleum Wanderer. Or if they just wanted us to put in a Stoneforge Mystic if we had it. I don't know. Letting us untap and potentially put something into play at our upkeep just seemed weird. Called it. Yes, opponent, we are playing Angel Tribal. Would you like to take my Unsettled Mariner? I assume that's your take? Alright, that's probably what I would take. The Sarah Avenger's frustrating, but you gotta kill it with push or bolt. And this sets you off tempo. The Archangel. I mean, I did say that putting them off tempo is going to be one of the ways that we win this game. That's a Baneslayer. Alright, well, our 5 drops are good. I think this means I'm just on Unsettled Mariner. I'm also getting the read that opponent has something to kill this, otherwise, I don't know. Push is hard. They probably have a bolt here. Oh, just a Tarmogoofy. Lands? That is a land. Opponent doesn't know about the far right cards in her hand, so let's try to keep it that way for as long as possible. Mariner cannot get in past Goyf, so we will sit heroically on defense and not actually defend anything. Next turn we get a Sarah Avenger, actually start clocking in the air. This could very well also be the turn that opponent just drops a Liliana. Liliana's plus doesn't target, so it won't be taxed by Unsettled Mariner. Plague Engineer. Alright, well, we are a tribal deck. Respect opponent, you figured that out. Alright, well, this is the moment that I play Magic. For my opponent to Plague Engineer calling Angel. I wonder what they brought that in for. Did we show them anything that actually cared? That's another Unsettled Mariner. Alright, well, I'm a fan of that. Unsettled Mariner number 2 makes it hard for them to target us with anything. Sarah Avenger being a 2-2, that's a sad 2-mana creature, but whatevs. Top decking a land is the Nutter Butters. I'll actually be able to grow everything out of the Plague Engineer, and the first strike will be able to block just about everything. Alright. Opponent's going deep. They are technically ahead on board. Cannot fault them for that. Also grew the Goyf. Land. Huh? You gonna pay off? Opponent, upkeep stop, the tilt stop. Can I see my card? Because I don't think I'm beating anything unless I get a land. Land Lyra, land Baneslayer, top deck Elspeth, rip for the win. Assuming they answer Baneslayer and Lyra, there's no way I'm going to -3. Look at that. Oh, crap. I didn't float the mana. Alright. Well, sad panda. Sad panda ahead. Again, paying 2 life there. It actually says go tutor a plains and put it into play tapped. I can't circumvent that. So, gonna be chump blocking the Goyf this turn. Or double block the Plague Engineer. Because right now, Lyra can't block Tarmogoyf. Alright, well, sometimes opponents just got it. So, go down to 4. I guess that actually would have been a Maelstrom Pulse pointed at my Lyra, so that's probably fine. Although Lyra chump blocking is the very definition of sadness. Alright. Well, King of Midrange, Valakut, and True Tron decks. I'm not really sure what to say. We're playing fun cards, and we're having fun, but matchups have not been amazing. Note so far, we need to lower our curve just a tad bit. Our angels are supposed to be value, and they're not super value in Modern. We needed pushed angel. Like, our 2-drops aren't going to come close to Goyf. Our 3-drops aren't going to come close to Karn or Wormcoil. And I understand that those are kind of the fringe and the worst matchups for this deck, but that's what Modern is. If we had a 4-mana angel, kind of similar to Sarah, just with more keywords, Gazella came a little close, but dying to Bolt was enough of a backside that you just couldn't run her. A 4-mana 4/3, just sadness all around. The Unsettled Mariner is helpful, but it's significantly better in a deck like... Okay, this is fine. This hand has a curve, kind of. I guess I can't technically Sarah Avenger. But I have my land drops. And we're on the draw, so we're going to hopefully refuel here. And it looks like Jund again. Burn. We might beat Burn. Especially with Light and Shadow in hand. Alright, that's a lot of lands. But if we had something that was actually a threat on 2 and not on 3/4, like Stoneforge Mystic, we might be doing a little bit better. Not blocking with Giver here. Oh, look. Revealed a Batterskull. So, not doing anything productive next turn. So I can float this and have 2 mana, but I can't cast Sarah Avenger because it's turn 2, so whatever. Let's just do this, get a land out of our deck. Also get our blue source in case we find an unsettled Mariner. Mariner is actually really good in this matchup. But pushed 1 or 2 drop that's an Angel could actually help a lot, and not just one that's Shapeshifter that helps all tribes. Angels are supposed to be very powerful, and Sarah Angel is the staple of like the best creature for a while. Alright, opponent has 3 cards in hand. Yikes. So, gonna take 6 down to 6. Opponent's gonna have 2 cards in hand. Scratch that. So, have to chump block here. I mean, Goblin Guide's he's been a bro. Aether Vial. Alright, well, I can run out the Sword of Light and Shadow. It's fairly safe for our opponent to assume that we have a sword here, but we're just dead on table, so that is burn. We have a lot of lifelink creatures, just didn't see them. Shalai comes in. Again, hexproof, just so good. Should probably be Leyline of Sanctities, but we're doing Angel Tribal. Dovin's Veto is a 1-for-1. Then we need to trim our top end. That's not super explosive. Plain blue-white controlled, this Archangel Avacyn has blocked enough Eidolons. I'm not going to cut it. 5 mana, destroy target attacking Eidolon is actually a fantastic mode for this. Sarah is actively slow and bad at this. Opponent's going to have Searing Blazes. They might even bring in Searing Bloods at this point. Linvala can stop a Grim Lavamancer. Not relevant enough. Archangel of Tides, again, taxing our opponents is going to be one of the better things that we can do. Then this requires mana to actually gain lifelink. And everything else is actually pretty decent, so we might just be trimming this. Fire and Ice is probably one of the worst equipments. I could see cutting this. In fact, yeah, I think I'm going to cut this. I think the 3/3 for 3 is probably fine, despite the fact it dies to Bolt. Overall, though, opponent just absolutely wrecked us there. We have Giver into Stoneforge, into Activate Stoneforge, or Sarah Avenger. Okay. First bolt's going to be pointed at the Giver of Runes, and then opponent's going to have to hold up Skullcrack for the Batterskull token. And this just looks like a Tax's hand. And this is probably one of the better things we're going to be able to do here. I actually do want to get blue here, so let's just call Angel. Then Stoneforge Mystic. Sort of Fire and Ice would have given us pro red. I just don't think that's high enough upside. Opponent is very inevitable. We just need to get a threat and keep it. If we have a Lyra or a Baneslayer on table, we're just going to win. Rift Bolt going after Stoneforge Mystic. Okay, so they're going to use 2 bolts on Stoneforge Mystic, which is fine. Or I get to be very confused. The logic in my head is like turn 3 we go get Sword of Fire and Ice. Sorry, turn 2 we go get Sword of Fire and Ice. Turn 3 we put it into play and still can't equip it. Turn 4 we're likely dead and Pro Red isn't going to save us at that point. So I don't know. I still don't think this is worth bringing in. But if you feel differently, happy to hear about it. This is an uncastable Dovin's Veto. We can do better. This is a little bit better. Tuck Shalai, just because it's the farthest card off. Oh boy. That's not good. That means that opponent's on multiple 2-drops that matter. I'm expecting Eidolons and Skull Cracks. Keeping 7, not making a 1-drop and burn it's a bold move. It's only something you do if you really like your hand or you think it's just close enough. Okay, well, I am casting one of these Unsettled Mariners, so let's just go get our basic. Opponent should not have Syrian Blaze here, but if they were planning on multi-spelling, they've got to do it before this resolves. I don't know what's going on. Next turn, I get a Violin, a Mariner, which means they're going to have to pay 3 mana to target anything and put in Stoneforge Mystic. Interesting keep out of opponent here. That's a Swift Spear. 100% not blocking. And keeping that priority. If we get enough Mariners on the battlefield, I wouldn't be surprised to see them bolt themselves just to get the Prowess trigger. Alright, opponent's still trying to think through what they want to do. Apparently 1 damage is enough. Go up to 2. Flagstones is fine. It's not great, but it's fine. Let's Unsettled Mariner. This should actually force out a removal spell if they've got it. Okay. Targeting my Unsettled Mariner is going to tax them by 2, so let's just go ahead and get in. And if they mix their next land drop, we might see them bolt themselves. So opponent's going to attack in with the Swift Spear. I'll put in the other Unsettled Mariner during begin combat. Actually, during attacks is fine. I actually probably need to put in Stoneforge Mystic here now so that I can activate it next turn. Yeah, I didn't think through that well enough. It was only when I was looking at the 1 mana it became apparent I was likely going to activate here. I was thinking putting in both Unsettled Mariners would be a good line. Then I could double block, but then I wouldn't be able to do anything with the Batterskull, which felt like I had to do it. We are ahead in clock at the moment, though, and we have a Batterskull coming. Ticking up to 5 looks appealing. We are going to lose out on actually no 2-drops here, so yeah, let's go to 3. There's our flagstones. Attack with all the creatures. Mariner 3.0. We did it, guys. We did Tron with our knockoff angels. Yep, any spell you want to cast is going to cost 3 more. That is a Giver of Runes. Don't even have an angel here. I'm expecting opponent to have Wear Tear or potentially Smash to Smithereens. If they had Smash, they probably would have targeted our Vial by now, but they know the Batterskull's coming and the Giver was the top deck for turn, so... whatever. If they spend their turn Smash to Smithereens that, then good for them. This also just might be a concession. Oh, they're just going to cash out. Getting rid of 2 lands when your spells cost 3 more is a pretty bold move. But I'm not going to complain. Alright, and that's the game. So, Unsettled Mariner won versus Burn. It's pretty much just that simple. And our Tron opponent lost because their deck did Tron things. We did technically take a single match out of them, going 2-3 overall with Angel Tribal. I have to put a giant asterisk next to that. I wanted to play fun cards. This shell needs... When the card gets spoiled that fixes the shell, we'll know exactly what to do with it. It's going to be a 2-mana Angel Lord. It's going to be a Changeling that enters the battlefield and anthems everybody for 2 mana. We do have Adaptive Automaton, I think is the name of it, as well as a couple of other things I tried to run in Squirrel Tribal when Deep Forest Tournament got spoiled. So there are cards that technically fit into this shell, but the entire point of being an Angel is being mid-range, value, a threat on its own, and we just don't have that. I could potentially see green-white working to a certain extent. You just ramp up to the Angel, but at that point you're just a bad Valakut deck, which, I mean, let's face it, I play bad versions of decks. It's just what I do. Sarah the Benevolent is a really fun card. She did fantastic work in black-white tokens, but that is not an Angel deck. I really want this to work. I don't think it's going to happen unless we get some very, very push cards, like the new green guy that text barely fits on the screen, on the card, but it's a 4/4 for 4, and it's got like haste, death touch, can't be blocked by creatures power 2 or less. Like a card like that could potentially make this work. Resplendent Angel is an interesting fix. It might be a little bit better in Martyr Proc. I have tried Resplendent Angel in Martyr Proc, and it's done some work. Sarah Avenger, despite being one of the... It's an over... I'm blanking on the words. I'm sorry, I miss things when I have migraines. It's the undercosted was the word I was looking for. It's undercosted with a drawback. And that drawback is a little hard to pull off in Modern right now. I love the card. I'm going to try to make it work in other shells. I thought putting a sword or a Batterskull on it would be pretty good, but our 7/7 Sarah Avenger was staring down an Emrakul. So it's just hard to make that seem like it's a thing. We did have a couple of very valuable blue-white cards, but Spirits is definitely the better shell for Tribal to this extent. And I don't know. Maybe we'll try it again someday when we get a couple more toys, but for now it's missing. Field of Ruin was also probably a good inclusion to this list. Maybe that's just playing Tron twice. Mid-range won't beat Tron, but either way, I'm 13. I try to play fun decks for Squirrel Dealer. If you have something cool and you'd like me to check it out, decks at Squirrel Dealer, I'll reply, help you brew, whatever you need to do there. If it's a really cool idea, I might actually be showcasing it. We do have a full history of all of our videos up on YouTube. Just search for Squirrel Dealer. And if you want to reach me directly with a question, Reddit's probably the best spot to do it. I have mentioned at the beginning of the stream that we're not going to be doing anything Wednesday, and there were some complications on Twitch where we couldn't actually start a new stream. So this is going to be a little content light this week, but we'll put up a couple of Commander deck techs to fill the gap this weekend. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Have a good night, and have a good one.